Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be deconstructing P2 off of Eternal Atake by Lil Uzi Vert. This is a personal favorite of mine, obviously for the massive tribute it pays to EXO Tour Life, and I'm super excited to get into this deconstruction. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Now the first thing that we're going to take a note of is we're working at a BPM of 155, and let's go ahead and drop in pattern 1 here. And we're going to basically start off by working on the main melody that plays throughout the entire track. Now the main melody of P2 is some kind of guitar. We're going to replicate that guitar sound using a Kontakt library called Evolution Rock Standard. Let's go ahead and start penciling in the main notes for the melody of P2. Now this melody pretty much makes up the foundation of the entire beat, and with that out of the way, we can move on to the second melody that we hear, which is also a guitar, but it plays a slightly different melody than the first one. And these two melodies pretty much bounce off each other throughout the entire beat. Now the third melody in P2 was also a guitar, except this one was processed a lot differently from the other two that we just worked with. They must have used a different amp or pedal when tracking this guitar. So I'm going to be using the same Kontakt library, except I'm going to process this one a little bit differently to get it to sound more accurate to the original track. So as you can kind of tell, this third pattern has some kind of like pitch modulation going on, which gives it an entirely different tone. These are pretty much the three main electric guitars that we hear in P2. So we can go ahead and move on to the next instrument, which is one of the more obscure instruments in this track, and frankly it was a lot harder to replicate just because it was just so odd, but I believe I got it as close that I possibly could. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up Serum. This is a preset that I made that kind of came close to what I heard in the original track. With that being said, let's go ahead and pencil in the notes for this sound as well. So as I said, just an overall really random sound, but it works really well in the beat. I'm kind of disappointed that I couldn't get it as accurate as I wanted it to, but moving on, there's a few other melodies in this beat that we're going to want to recreate. Now for pattern 5, we're going to pencil in another melody that you hear throughout the beat of P2. This is that kind of string pluck sound that kind of comes in towards the middle and the end of the track. Another unique choice by TM88, and to replicate this sound, I went ahead and created a preset in Omnisphere. So let's go ahead and open up the piano roll and pencil in the notes for this string melody here. And we can go and just duplicate this over. So far we have 5 different melodies, and if I play a few of these here, we'll start to see the entire track come together. So as you can see, we really got a lot going on here, but there's just a few more melodies that we're going to want to get down before we move on to the drums. I'm going to open up pattern 6 here. This sound that we're going to work on here is going to be this kind of lead guitar solo that comes in sporadically throughout the track. So to do that, first we're going to open up Serum. And this is another preset that I created to kind of replicate what you hear in the original song. So it's not actually a guitar, this is more of like a distorted lead. I have a trick for this sound that I'm going to show you guys that'll help it give it that actual electric guitar kind of tone. But for now, let's go ahead and pencil in the notes for this first layer here. So this is kind of the first half of that lead guitar solo. The trick that I want to do here is layer this with an actual electric guitar. And the main reason we're going to do this is just to get it as close to the original as possible. Because I'm limited with only working with a software electric guitar, I'm not able to get certain features that you would hear if you were actually playing a guitar. By layering this with like a synth sound, it's going to help us achieve a more realistic effect. I'm going to take this melody here, copy it, and paste it down onto my second layer here. For this layer, of course, we're going to use that same electric guitar contact library that I use for all the other guitars, and this should help it sound a lot closer to the original track. So if you listen to our melody without this electric guitar layer, and then with it, you just get a little more harmonics and more of an actual instrument kind of sound. This kind of live guitar solo type of thing is exactly the sound that we're going for. Now at this point, my CPU is starting to get a little overloaded, so I went ahead and bounced out this guitar solo to a WAV file. There's this last melody that I want to get down, and it's actually an acoustic guitar instead of an electric guitar. To do this, we're going to go ahead and open up a new pattern here, and we're actually going to be using a contact library called Evolution Songwriter to recreate this melody. So before we move on, I'm going to bounce some of these melodies out to audio just to kind of clean everything up and see everything in that nice waveform format. And then we'll move on to the drums and the arrangement, and we'll take a listen to the final product of our deconstruction of P2 by Lil Uzi Vert. Alright, so as you guys can see, I went ahead and bounced out a lot of these melodies just because they were taking up a lot of CPU. But now that we've done that, I just want to run through the drums really quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on them because they're honestly quite simple, and I've covered this classic TM88 drum sound in a lot of my other videos. But I will say that if you need any of the drum sounds that you heard in this video, you can find them in the comment section as well as the description down below. I pretty much only used one drum kit, and that's my personal drum kit, and you can find that on my website at paulkits.com. But with that being said, let's go ahead and run through the drums really quick. We got our 808, we've got our hi-hats, we've got our clap, we've got a kick, and lastly we have an open hi-hat. That's pretty much all the drums for this beat. So I went ahead and threw together a quick arrangement for this beat. I will play the entire finished product at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. But here's a preview of the finished deconstruction of P2 by Lil Uzi Vert. Again, I'll be playing the finished product at the end of this video, so you can go check that out. And as always, all the drum sounds used to recreate this beat can be found in my personal drum kit, which I'll have in the description, as well as the comment section below, so you guys can go check that out. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for me today. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.